What is up, YouTube? What is up? It's Big Boy Rabbit. I am out here with Mississippi Milsurp in East Central Mississippi, and I have something. Warning, warning. Actually, what this episode was originally going to be is GUNSHOW FIND. Check this out. I just got this at the most villainous, the terrible, awful, villainous gun shows. They're bad. Bad gun shows are awful, right? We know. We all know. I bought this from a licensed FFL dealer that was at the gun show. So I did the paperwork on it. That's right. I had my background check like a good boy. And I found this thing for $200. What? What? $200. That's right. If you don't know what it is, well, that's okay, because we can't figure out the name of the stock either. I remember these stock sets being sold in Sportsman's Guide for about 40 bucks back in the early 2000s and the late 90s. And all I ever have seen on these is a Mauser 98 stock. Seen them listed 3 times, and that's all it says is Mauser 98 stock. The idea of these stocks is that you can drop in your Mauser 98 into it without modifying your gun and be able to use a Weaver style scope mount to put a scope on it. And hey, you got a hunting rifle cheaply from getting one of, at the time, a cheap Mauser 98. They were pretty cheap. Get this stock set for 40 bucks, throw it in there. Hey, boom, you got a hunting gun that you don't have to chop up and butcher or pay your cousin, uncle, nephew, brother, sister, aunt to cut up in their shop for you and destroy a Milsurp gun. You could do this. However, you had to have a bent bolt Mauser for this to work with the scope, unless you put it up here, which I like that they put this up here in case you had a straight bolt. You could put a scout scope or a red dot or something up here, and you didn't have to use the supplied bent bolt that came with the kit, because the original kits came with a bent bolt in case you had a straight bolt that you yourself could be a professional Bubba, yap it on off and do your work and bend that bolt down yourself. Get your ball peen hammer that you use to build the goat shed and just wail on the thing after you've hit it with the jet lighter or whatever. We don't do that stuff here. But I saw this. I was seeing it growing up. And I think, man, that looks like a crazy thing to do to a Mauser. And I've never actually seen one put together. I was thinking, well, no one actually does that. That's crazy. But here it is. I found one. I found one that's been put together. Look at this thing. And it has a bent bolt. I have no idea what Mauser 98 is inside of it. And we're pretty sure it is just a copy of the Steyr Scout, or is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a Steyr Scout lookalike. It looks so much like it, except this right here does not fold down into a bipod. This is cut to where I can finish cutting it out to do a detachable magazine, but it is not. And this just looks like where the Steyr Scout has the magazine recess, but nothing actually there. So essentially, you might be able to fool somebody at the range and make them think that you're one of those high dollar boys, even though you only got a $140 rifle. They're like, oh man, look at the guy with the Steyr Scout. He's going to whoop us in this competition. They have no idea you have a Turkish Mauser sitting in a $40 Sportsman Guide stock, but you're like, got y'all's butt today. So, big thing about gun shows. This is going to be my PSA to all of y'all about gun shows. When you go to a gun show, first thing, know who you're buying from. All right. If it looks sketch, walk away. All right. Just don't. If it's too good, if it really seems too good to be true, it very well might be. All right. If there's a Glock 43 sitting on the table and the guy's trying to sell it to you for $100, I probably wouldn't buy it. All right. You might be that type of person that's like, oh, hell yeah, $100 Glock. I don't care. We care. So we're not going to be buying something like that. But this came from a license. There's plenty of licensed FFL dealers that go to gun shows trying to get rid of stuff. And this is the key. Those licensed FFL dealers are going to those gun shows trying to offload stuff that they can't sell out of their shop. Stuff that's been sitting on the shelf they can't sell, or stuff maybe they've been listed on Gunburger they can't sell. Like, hey, let's take you to a gun show and just see, because people impulsively buy things at gun shows. Did I impulsively buy this? No. I have wanted one of these, but I didn't want to ruin a Mauser, or I didn't want to do that. If I had a military Mauser, I'd want it to be military, right? This one has a civilian 30-06 barrel on it, so I am absolutely fine with this being the way it is. I don't have to. Actually, we are going to upgrade this even further by removing this, getting it to either accept MG13 magazines. I'm not sure if the MG13 can accept 30-06. If it can accept 30-06, I think it's going to be too short. I'm probably going to grab some Madsen magazines out of the warehouse, and we're going to butcher some old Madsen 30-06 magazines, and that will probably work in here. Get down in the comments and tell me, have you ever modified, like, say, a Madsen magazine to work or a Hotchkiss magazine to work? And does Hotchkiss have magazines? I know the Madsen had them. The Hotchkiss might have all been tray fed. Anyway, this thing, also the safety on this, I noticed, has this safety for the trigger. And then, that happens. We haven't put a bullet in it to see what would actually happen, but see, got the safety up, right? We are going to depress the trigger, and then we're going to take the safety off. Gun just fired. So that's going to be one problem. But you can now, if you pull the trigger, you can still use the bolt, open up and safely take your bullets out. But if you did not know that that happened and you were in the woods and, you know, you have the old buck up there, you see how high this is. So you're up here looking through the scope, you're not paying attention to this, and you're shaking. Old 42-point super buck just walked out of the swamp, and you're shaking, getting ready. You're not thinking about taking that safety off. Pull that trigger. Oh shit, my gun clicked. Oh, that's okay. I'll just take the safety off. You're taking your eyes away from it, and you're taking the safety off, and boom! Old 42-point super buck, he's gone into the woods to live another day and probably live the rest of his life out, because that was the last mistake that he was ever going to make, and you just gave him the warning that, hey, that one thing you thought you could do, you can't. And he's never going to do that again. You're scared because your gun just went off in your hand. That's a serious problem. I don't know if they all do that, but it might just be this Mauser. I haven't opened this up to see what kind of Mauser's inside of it. Now, back to the gun show problem. When you're at a gun show, this is what you have to look at. Sometimes the bolts are locked down to where you can't work the bolt. Sometimes the bolt is locked open where you can view the bore. If you're at a gun show and that person on the table has, like, all of his guns are both open, and then he has one bolt shut, there's a reason that one is locked shut. Many, many, many times I went to a gun show, bought one of the bolts locked down, got home. One time I had air socket, opened it up. It didn't have a magazine follower or a magazine spring, and the barrel was, I mean, the worst one I've ever seen. The outside of it, perfect, like museum grade, but it was missing parts on the inside, had a terrible barrel. Let me think of another one that I've done. I've bought 2 infields, bolt clothes, get home, barrels are shot out, totally trash and gone. They had rifling that you could see from down here when you shine a light at the top. But when you actually bore scope it, you could see the whole thing's rotten, gone. There's no rifling left. I've had that happen to me twice. And boy, wouldn't you know, it happened to me this weekend with this. Isn't that nuts? So it was a bolt closed gun, but I wasn't thinking about it being a bolt closed gun, and or the fact that I talked him from 250 down to 200. But yeah, there was a reason that the bolt was shut. The first thing when we got it, and we got the tie pulled off, got her opened up, looked down it. The bore is beautiful. It's pristine. It's shiny. Problem. Why does the rifling stop in the middle? What's happening? And then we got out here to the range today, thinking it might have just been a bad, like, bore spot. And I was running my hands down this barrel, and then I felt it. There's a bulge right there. And that is why the rifling looks funny midway down. It's bulged. And that licensed FFL dealer that I bought it from, of course, did not bring any of that to my attention. He just wanted his money to get this thing off of his shelf and get out of there. It's very unfortunate that that's still happening, because this guy was actually, like, one of the Milsurp collector guys. It's very unfortunate that that's still happening. You really get scammed at gun shows. You have to pay attention. And all he told me was that this is a Mauser 98 that's been rechambered to 30-06. Roger that. I can see that with my eyes. He did not tell me about the bubble in the barrel. And granted, I probably could have found that out at the gun show, but this is something that I don't do at gun shows. I don't pick up every gun. And when I'm looking at it, I don't jack off the gun, every gun that I pick up. So I'm probably not going to notice. It's not a huge bulge. I don't even know if you can see it on the camera. It's just enough that when you bore light it, you can see the dark patch in there. And then when you run your hand down, the entire thing, obvious. bulge. So we're not going to be firing this gun today because I don't want a banana split in my hands. What we're going to do, we're going to take it to the shop. We've already measured out where the bubble is, and it's like the bubble is at like 23 inches, so it's fine. We're going to cut about an inch below the bubble, recrown it, and do our best to make sure there's no micro fractures that are further down after we cut it. And we'll bring this thing back out after we get it recrowned, and we'll fire it for y'all. Really, soon as I can, I'm going to rechamber this into like a 408 or 416 or 458, something like that, because it looks like a T-Rex gun. This right here looks straight off of Turok. I played the Turok games growing up, and it looks like a T-Rex killer. This looks like something when you scrolled through the old weapon wheel that this was going to pop up to take your old T-Rex down. So I think it needs to be in a T-Rex caliber. We're just going to play around and see what case will fit on the Mauser bolt. And pretty much the biggest thing that I can make fit that'll take the chamber pressure, that's what's happening. So y'all stay tuned for that. As always, if you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Make sure YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you from me. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps my channel out. Hit the like button. It's free, and I'll catch y'all next time.